I watched dozens of sawmill videos, hoping I could avoid the mistakes that other beginners make. I did avoid most of those, but I made plenty of my own. This is going to do it. This end, 11.5, 8.5, 3 inches difference. These come up 1.5 inches. Now, right away I see I have these too high. It will say, everyone runs their saw into those steel things. I intend not to.
Y ahora the wood stay here and the other or the rear.
Oh, yeah.
And this you need to cut porque está ready acá, mira. And aquí come.
I've got a broom over here somewhere. Also we have the hose. But that is called a cant. It's a log that's been squared, more or less, not exactly square, but these barky pieces, unless you have some use for them, become firewood. There's a couple of you can get some short boards out of, which have to be dried. Oh, and also another thing you have to do to keep the wood from splitting at the ends when it's drying out, there's a special kind of goop you paint the ends of the logs with before you cut them. And it keeps them from drying out too fast in the end so they don't split. Now what? What am I going to do? Careful, sweetie. Don't do that. That is extremely sharp. One reason I got this sawmill instead of another popular one, it costs almost the same, a little bit more. On the other one, the operator walks in the sawdust. I like this one. Sawdust over here, me over there. Coastal redwood, I think. I don't see any red yet because we're nowhere near the heartwood.
Where is the tank of what?
That silver thing, soap and water. Keep the blade cool and clean. That's another neat thing about this saw is you pull the trigger for the throttle, it turns on the water. And there's a gauge on here so you know how much water you have left.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, the older models have a plastic jug of water up here. It looks ugly. Aluminum costs more, but it looks better. Now what I have to remember to do every day is to loosen this so it doesn't screw up the wheels. Matter of fact, I'm going to check that right now to see where the blade is tracking. Okay.
Ahora you continue to cut now, ¿verdad?
Nope.
Huh?
Done for today. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut those bars out first thing. Sure, the liability lawyers made them put those in. I think maybe a box of Band-Aids ought to be standard equipment out here. Well, I'm happy. Didn't break anything. Minimal blood loss. Now we're going to have a beer to celebrate. First cut. Exactly 1 week to the day after the machine arrived. One of the things I have to do is figure out exactly where I'm going to store everything. This is very good because people that saw a lot of wood have big piles of sawdust they have to shovel out. All we have to do is kick it down the hill. Boy, I don't know how the hell I'm going to... I think the ATV is going to get a lot of work and probably the truck on the big one. Okay, I think the next thing to do before I forget one more thing. This is a cherry tree. It blew down in the wind a week ago, 2 weeks. Too small to get anything decent out of. I do make picture frames. Depending on what this looks like inside, it might be good material for that. All this heavy lifting has made me well aware that I am not as strong as a 30-year-old anymore. When I pull a muscle or strain myself, it doesn't heal with a shot of whiskey and a good night's sleep. So, I got to take care of myself, use my brains more and my body less. Most of this stuff is going to be small, but then there's going to be stuff like this, not small. Right now the plan is to just drag these logs over to where I want them to be. It's only a slight uphill from where I'm standing to the bed, and that was planned. That's why that sawmill's as low as it can go without going into the ground. This worked out well. No longer do you have to spin this knob out all the way, set it down, risk losing it. 2, 3, 4, and it's open. Boy, this is much easier. Well, came close to losing teeth on that. This is going to be an exceeding slow operation without more mechanized equipment. I'm amazed I got away with that. I need to write a checklist. Include things like tension the blade before you cut something, dummy. I don't know why choke off is to the right, engine off is to the left. They ought to be the same. Well, so far I'm happy, haven't caused any damage. I do like my modification here. I bet you thought I'd forget. Well, you're almost right. Release tension. Also, I'll crank it down all the way, because it makes it easier to get the tarp over it. And 1 inch is all the way. This alder log has been lying out in the weather for a year, maybe 2, but off the ground. As it begins to decay, it develops some really beautiful pattern in the grain, but is still strong enough, sturdy enough to use for tabletops and other furniture projects.